It's the end of 2024 and cars are driving themselves all over the world, even in the otherwise medieval Europe, as you can see. But unlike full self-driving 13, our Basic Autopilot, Enhanced Autopilot, Autopark, and actually Smart Summon are far from perfect. So enjoy this epic fail compilation courtesy of two crazy guys from the Czech Republic.
Jď s tím do prdele!
Čeká na chodce.
Jo, ale,
Ty králo!
Brzdí ty vocasy, on mi zničí auto.
Tak musíme
Proč jedeme, jo? Musíme... Kamion a cyklista, to kombinace, my jsme zastavili. Děláš si srandu, co to bylo?
Let's start on a positive note with one of the longest intervention-free drives we've ever had during our crazy testing, and remember,
This was pretty close.
do not try this at home. And if you do, be prepared to take over at any time, because this is just a driving assistant, not yet a robo-taxi. You can see the car drive effortlessly under two conditions: a well-marked empty road and a leading car ahead of us. Unless...
There's a crazy motorcyclist that wants to turn. Yeah, huge phantom braking right after we passed them. I would get it if it was before, but it was just after. Okay, we have a pedestrian trying to cross the street. The car stopped but didn't quite let them. The driver isn't doing anything right now, only monitoring the car. Oh, it's slowing down really harshly and... Whoa, this was so close to the curb. Crazy, crazy autopilot. This was one of our closest situations yet, and kudos to the driver for not disengaging. I would have definitely taken over there. Who came up with this? Probably it was a challenge for autopilots that someone came up with. Autopilot engage, and the question now is if it's going to stop at our destination, or what is it going to do? There's a pedestrian, huge braking for the pedestrian, maybe a little bit unnecessary and too late, but at least it's being cautious. And right now we're supposed to turn left to the train station. Our navigation is ending. Autopilot
Now turn left.
is actually going forward. And it's telling us, the navigation is telling us to turn left. And autopilot is just continuing forward. And it's accelerating. Oh my god, stop!
Now make right turn.
Using Tesla Autopilot as a robo-taxi in Europe, what a wonderful idea. Except that Autopilot is not even close to being ready for such a use case. As you love to remind us in the comment section, the software you just saw driving the car is only supposed to be used as a lane-keeping assistant on highways. Tesla, however, allows you as a driver to use it almost anywhere. That leads to a lot of interesting situations that you're about to see right now, but why are we even trying to use it as a robo-taxi? What's the point? It's not just the Cybercab that's going to work like a robo-taxi. It's almost all Tesla cars made in the last 8 years, which of course includes our brand new Model 3 Performance. It has all the necessary hardware to drive itself. That means 8 cameras watching the road and a central computer that acts like a robot brain, processing everything it sees and driving accordingly. The only thing keeping us from a true robo-taxi experience is getting regulatory approval for the right software. That means unlocking full self-driving in Europe. And Tesla is working on that right now. So where does that leave us here in Europe? Tesla has officially announced on X that full self-driving supervised is coming to Europe in Q1 2025, which is now less than 6 months away in the worst case. That said, it's not just up to Tesla, and they're still waiting for regulatory approval, and so are we. As soon as FSD is available, we will start testing it in these exact same scenarios to show you how much better it is compared to Autopilot. And that's why we're here today, making this video, to have a kind of a starting point, a benchmark of capability. That's why even though Autopilot isn't as capable as we would like it to be, we are doing everything to push it to its limits, so we can find out just how much better full self-driving really is or will be. So enjoy another crazy video and definitely subscribe for the first and hopefully best European FSD videos as soon as we can make them. Autopilot is basically just advanced lane keeping at this point. Roundabouts and other complex intersections are still too tricky for it. That's where full self-driving would come in, handling these situations so you wouldn't have to. But for now, with Autopilot alone, we've still got to take charge at the last second. When you're using Autopilot or FSD, it's super important to remember that at the end of the day, you are the driver. Autopilot can give out at any moment. Maybe it freaks out and slams on the brakes or misreads the situation and veers off course. It's not guaranteed to protect you from accidents, and there's no magic force field around your car when you engage it. That's why Tesla tells you to keep your hands on the wheel and be ready to take over in a split second. For example, here Autopilot would have driven us into the middle of the roundabout and crashed had we not intervened. You're still responsible for what this car does, no matter how advanced the tech seems. What we're doing here, pushing this basic autopilot system into situations it's not really designed for, definitely isn't recommended. We're purposely exploring its edge cases, driving it at night in challenging conditions, just to see where it stands right now. You might wonder, why bother with this stupid testing? Why risk it? Because this gives us a baseline to measure from once full self-driving finally arrives. It's like testing a student before the final exam. If we know its weaknesses now, we'll better appreciate how far it's come when it can finally handle these roads on its own, without any interventions. So let's go see Autopilot fail.
Now we have a completely new situation. Autopilot engaged again for the first time on a road that doesn't have a middle line. So we'll see what it will do. It's driving a little faster than would be comfortable, but it's still according to the speed limit of 90 kilometers per hour. And it's surprisingly staying mostly on the right, I wanted to say, but right now it has crossed a little too much to the middle. And right now it would be a very dangerous situation. Right when it started seeing this truck coming our way, it drifted to the right properly, almost as if it realized that, oh shit, so someone is coming towards us, I have to stay on the right. And now it's staying on the right. It's driving a little too fast. Yeah, but you can see that it still manages quite nicely, even without proper lane markings, at least without the middle line. This turn is a little bit too sharp, and you can see it drifted into the wrong lane completely. So I'm gonna ask my driver to maybe, yeah, take over the situation. Don't worry, we weren't in any danger because we saw that no one is in front of us, but you can see that this could definitely have led to a really dangerous situation if you, for example, were not paying attention or relying too much on Autopilot.
And because my driver didn't take over soon enough when he was prompted by the car, Tesla just put us to Autopilot jail, which just means you have to stop and start driving again to use Autopilot, and if you do this repeatedly, you will be banned from using Autopilot entirely.
Ooh, oh my god. Okay, so you can see that this wasn't really handled properly, even though we kind of have a lead car there in front of us and someone was coming our way and the car used the brakes too excessively, too harshly. And yeah, it drives a little bit like a frightened, frustrated teenager at the moment. Whereas full self-driving already drives like a driver who has like 2-3 years of experience. And yeah. Be prepared to take over. You can see the sign on the screen again. And right now we have a really interesting situation coming up where we have this big vehicle coming our way, and we have to do a really tight maneuver. Yeah, Autopilot started braking like crazy and it stopped in the middle of the road because it was just too scared of these big vehicles coming our way. So as you can see, also not really handled that well. It wasn't dangerous. It could have been dangerous if someone was driving behind us, but I think the car would take that into account and maybe not brake that harshly, but that's only speculation at this point. You can see that it doesn't have problems with... Whoa, okay. We had to take over there because it almost it just went too fast. It was too quick. Yeah, right now it's going too quickly and we have to disengage immediately because, oh well. This was too extreme. Now comes the roundabout and the car is not doing very well. It almost crashed us into the middle of the roundabout. I think it would have crashed us had we not disengaged. And here is another roundabout. I guess we can't get rid of them here in Europe, in the Czech Republic. It might be a surprise or something strange for our American viewers. It just drove through the roundabout. That's the first time ever I saw Autopilot handling a roundabout. Somehow it handled it really poorly, but it did it.
Netál jsem vůbec, jenom ten blinker jsem chtěl dát.
Yeah, as you can see, no disengagement on the screen, and we just managed to drive through a roundabout. That's freaking amazing. And this is what I was talking about, a cobblestone, medieval street, and we cannot even engage Autopilot. If you cannot see the gray steering wheel in the upper left corner of the screen, that means Autopilot cannot be engaged, and if we try to engage it, the car is just going to give us a chime and say that auto steer is unavailable. So unfortunately, no medieval city streets for now, but now we're engaged again. This is a really sharp turn, but at this low speed, it handled it correctly. Now it speeded across train tracks again. Yeah, and now it freaked out about the parked car that is improperly parked over here, and we had to disengage again. So this is the roundabout that we drove through successfully on Autopilot for the first time. Let's see if we can repeat that test scenario and drive through it again. Again improperly, but yeah, we managed to drive through it even for the second time. Really, like, not smoothly and terrifyingly, but managed all the same. This turn might be even sharper, and yeah, right here we've got probably even some emergency braking from the car and had to take over. Now we could turn Autopilot on because of this gray steering wheel that is now turned blue, and by this blue steering wheel and also these two blue lines, you can clearly see that Autopilot has been engaged, and now we had to disengage really quickly again because it just can't handle turns and it didn't know where to go. Unlike full self-driving, Autopilot's just supposed to drive you through the lane that you're going in at the moment, and it can drive you very well on highways and on long and pretty easy roads, but it cannot turn, it cannot handle intersections, and FSD, full self-driving, could handle all of that. The only problem is it's not available in Europe yet, so that's why we're testing Autopilot right now. It's seeing the cars going our way, and it's freaking out a little bit, but when it can see the cars going the opposite way, it's sticking to the right. But when the cars go away, it just goes back into the middle of the road, which is not appropriate at all. This is a two-way road, and here we have a van coming our way, and the car is probably not going to see it in time. Yeah, and we had to disengage, and the driver looked pretty pissed off. No. Oh, so ugly. Oh, this is so bad. It went into the turn lane, and of course, it didn't turn. I think it's slowing down too harshly, and right now it's It's a little bit confused, but it managed to navigate the construction site almost successfully, but at the end in here, it seemed like it was going to a little bit too close to the right side. Autopilot's speeding up again, and now it should be slowing down already, which it is, sort of. Yeah. It's a little bit horrifying for me still, but I have a very brave driver that is letting Autopilot do whatever it wants to do until it's super unsafe. And we have a closed road, which Autopilot would probably just drive straight into. And right now we have a really interesting test coming out, going to try Autopilot for the first time on cobblestone. These small cobblestone cubes, different colors. Autopilot is going all around. It can't really, well, it can see, but it couldn't really handle these unmarked cobblestone cubes. Now we have a really interesting challenge ahead of us. There's a cyclist who isn't quite in our lane, but is really close to it. And Autopilot famously is super scared around cyclists. So now he went into our lane. Autopilot is scared. We also have a pedestrian interaction coming up. The lady is crossing the street. Cyclist is stopping. Beautiful visualizations all over. And now what is Autopilot going to do? Is it going to pass the cyclist, or is it just going to drive behind them all the way? They have space. Now they don't have space anymore to drive on the side of the road, and it looks like Autopilot's just going to follow them. But they're going pretty quickly right now. As you can see, we're going almost 40 kilometers per hour. And because we're going downhill, so the cyclist is pretty fast. It's still following him. I think at this point it would not be feasible to pass him. So Autopilot's really cautious, and it's smooth. Like, it drives really smoothly right now. It's not jerking or anything. And now we have a pedestrian, roundabout, and a cyclist at the same time. Autopilot slowing down appropriately. And right now it's going to enter the roundabout and not handle it correctly. So this is where we had to disengage, but a really long ride with no disengagements or interventions through the city and the country roads. I think this was one of our best continuous rides we've recorded so far.
If you agree, push the like button down below, and if not, just tell us why.
What the fuck?
Bravo. Autopilot swerving from one lane to another. Not sure which one to use. And this was really uncomfortable. We're back on an unmarked road with a lead car. Autopilot staying in its lane now appropriately. Let's see how far it can go. It's drifting a little bit too much to the left, but the lead car really seems to correct it. It's a little bit confused. You can see that the lines on the screen are jumping all around, especially the left line. It can't decide if it's a one-way or two-way road. We have some cars going our way. Autopilot did a good job of not freaking out. It's slowing down. I think it's tailgating this van a little too closely. Like, for my taste, it would be much more comfortable to keep a little bit longer following distance. You can set the following distance manually on Autopilot on the screen, which we have now increased to 5 car lengths, up from 2. And that's, again, a big difference between Autopilot and full self-driving. When you drive with full self-driving, it's deciding on the following distance all on itself, on its own. A little bit of construction freaked the car out, but it's handling this road with no lines at all, even no middle line and no lines on the sides. And that's probably mostly because of the leading car ahead of us, which is slowly getting away, and right now it will disappear. And now Autopilot couldn't see the car for a while, but it's still driving. The van disappeared again, and Autopilot is still driving. It's like chasing the van right now. It's gone a little bit off the road on the right side. It sees the van again, and right now it freaked out. It aborted for system error because both the van was too far away to copy its driving, and the road still has no lines. Whoa! It saw this pheasant on the street, and it slowed down for them, I think. Really nice animal interaction for the first time in our videos. Oh, right now it updated the speed on its own to 90, and it's going really quickly. These roads are super narrow, even for a smaller car like the Tesla Model 3 we're driving right now.
More precisely, this is the refreshed Highland Model 3 Performance 2024, and you can always find more info about the drive in the video description.
And the road became unmarked again. A car is driving our way, and Autopilot freaked out a little bit, but still kept driving on. And right now it can't decide which way to go. So we almost crashed into that, well, not crashed, but almost went into that grassy portion between the two turns. Straight into the setting sun with Autopilot. Today we're using a little bit of a wider point of view of the camera, so definitely let us know in the comments if you like that. And right now we had to disengage because of the car going our way. This is a very narrow road for going two ways. You can see that two cars barely fit next to each other on this road. And of course it's a road without a middle line, which Autopilot is not handling very well. And we've had a few serious disengagements right now that would have resulted in a really bad accident if we didn't intervene. Autopilot is braking for the turn. It's braking properly. And right now it's doing the turn. It would run us directly into the car going the other way. This was not good performance from Autopilot. I had to whip up my smartphone because my GoPro overheated, and right now we're going behind two cyclists. I just wanted to show you this situation. It's not going to pass them. And it's probably illegal to pass them right now because we don't have the space to give them like proper...
In 2 kilometers, enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
Proper spacing. Yeah, we've engaged Autopilot again. It's not going to pass them. It's just driving behind them. It's pretty funny, but is there someone? No, there's no one behind us, at least. You can see that Autopilot is just not going to pass the cyclist. Are they turning? Well, you should have let it go. You can see that all you have to do is tap the parking spot on the screen and press the start button. It doesn't matter where your car exactly is. The Autopilot will automatically do the right thing. And right now we have like a conflicting car or like a van that came up in here, and maybe he will... No, he's also parking in a different spot. And right now you can see that Autopark has been aborted because probably Tesla deemed the spot too tight. You can see on the drone footage that one of the cars is parked really badly over here, and it's like reaching into our parking spot, so maybe we'll give it another try. if Tesla will... Yeah, let's try to do it again. But if the car is really smart, I think it will abort the park again. Because as you can see on the drone footage, it would be really, really tight. And I think not smart to try to fit in there. Question is Autopark bold enough to actually try this parking spot? And I think because of the proximity of the car to our left right now, it's going to abort again. Wow, it's not aborting. It's actually doing it. Holy crap. And we've parked successfully with like 3 inches from the car to our left. It looks absolutely ridiculous on the drone footage. I love it. Okay, let's go try another one. If you like how insane we are, please like this video so it can reach more people.
Instead of changing lanes right now, which would be the most appropriate, we are slowing down considerably behind this big heavy truck, and this is what puts us in a really bad position. Right now, Enhanced Autopilot suggested going left, but we are going too slow for it to actually like take the maneuver. It aborted because there was a car behind us going too quickly. Right now, you know, the cameras, like the back looking and then the middle cameras are blinking all around, and you can see the maneuver is not smooth at all. What you would expect, or what would be optimal, would be to first like accelerate heavily, then change lanes while still accelerating and quickly overtaking this truck at basically the speed limit. What Enhanced Autopilot does instead is it doesn't change speed at all. It doesn't accelerate. Like zero acceleration. It only changes lanes, still in the super low speed. You will see it again right now. It just changes lanes in the super low speed and only then starts to accelerate, and starts to accelerate really slowly at that. It's far from optimal, it's really slow, and you have to do multiple things on your own for Enhanced Autopilot to work. You can see that we're not making it easy for Enhanced Autopilot by driving in super low visibility. So I guess that makes the performance of the cameras shine a little bit more, but also makes it harder for the system. And right now, this was one of the most dangerous things that happened to us because Enhanced Autopilot suggested changing lanes where it was not feasible at all. Some guy was driving really quickly behind us, and Enhanced Autopilot just went in their way. One thing is that they're technically driving illegally, you know, they're speeding, and they're speeding pretty aggressively, but even though that is the case, I think Enhanced Autopilot or any full self-driving, like self-driving car, should not try to make people angry. You can see that Autopilot doesn't work in intersections, almost drove us off the road. This one's gonna be gruesome, so strap in. We're driving super slowly. This is not appropriate for merging at all. It's very, very low speeds, and Enhanced Autopilot is already suggesting, right now it's accelerating aggressively, but the merge lane is vanishing and it freaked out, didn't merge properly. Even though the driver did everything that he should have done. He confirmed the maneuver by using the turn signal, and then he nagged at the steering wheel, but Enhanced Autopilot got just too scared. On the way back, we're going to encounter one of the most like gruesome situations you can, and that is going to demonstrate where Enhanced Autopilot really fails. You can see that there's a truck in front of us. Enhanced Autopilot suggested changing lanes to the left, but it's slowing down significantly already. It aborted the maneuver because there was just no space, no time, no space-time, I guess. And it's suggesting maneuvers again, like it's highlighting the left lane, like, hey, we should overtake this big truck. But you can see there's a lot of cars coming in there really fast, so it would not be easy to do this maneuver, even if you were driving manually. If you had a slow car, But the issue is the Tesla is not a slow car. If you just press on the accelerator, Teslas are one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest production cars in the world. So overtaking with them manually is really easy. What makes it hard is that enhanced autopilot is really soft on the acceleration and it doesn't use the car to its full potential. And I don't mean like, you know, flooring it, but overtaking normally. It's going super slow and it's just a mess. You can see that the camera view is jumping all around whenever it suggests we go left. You can see, like, why is the camera view jumping from the left of the screen to the right of the screen? Basically, as a driver, you're really frustrated at this point. You're only watching the screen. You can't even pay attention on what's happening outside, which gets very dangerous as well. And yeah, you can see that we're driving a super fast car, yet we're dragging behind this truck at a gruesomely low speed. And we're basically trapped because enhanced autopilot is incapable of overtaking. And this is the thing I was talking about. It's going too slow. It's suggesting even dangerous maneuvers. Right now, maybe there's a window open, and you can see how slow it is. Like, you would have completed the maneuver on your own multiple times, several times already. But to be fair to Tesla and to enhance autopilot, the cars in the left lane are not making it easy for us. Like, this is pretty dense traffic over here. And even though there is some space, it would require, like I said, considerable amount of acceleration. Yes, we're going to the left lane. You can see it's not accelerating at all. It just completed the maneuver and now slowly started accelerating. If someone was driving behind us, and I think that someone might be driving behind us, someone probably is driving behind us, they would be mad as hell from this maneuver. And right now, at least it very quickly suggested moving back to the right again. Then it slowly moved to the right lane, as it should have. If you're loving this content and already hit like and subscribe, guess what? You can now take it a step further. Become a channel member, leave a special thanks comment, or even grab a big discount on a Tesla using the link below. Seriously, every bit of support helps me keep bringing you these awesome autopilot adventures. Thanks for riding along. This next part really shows how extreme we are. At this point, it's so pitch black outside that autopilot actually refuses to turn on. That's right. When I said you can switch it on almost anywhere, well, here's one of the exceptions. Usually it just depends on how clear the lane lines are, but I think the main problem here is visibility. Tesla shows you on the screen when autopilot is available, a small gray steering wheel above your current speed. When we finally get autopilot working again, we're nearing the big finale. There are a ton of pedestrians to our right, and you can see the car visualizing all of them perfectly. We get slightly blocked by a car turning right, but to be fair, autopilot never fully stops, just creeps forward really slowly. And this is one of those moments with cars and pedestrians all around us, really slow speeds and smooth driving, where autopilot almost looks as capable as full self-driving. If only this would last more than 10 seconds. When it looked like the car might not stop properly for that bust, the driver freaked out and disengaged. In my opinion, it wasn't truly critical, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. One thing's certain, autopilot was moving a bit too quickly, even accelerating, which definitely wasn't ideal. When we re-engage briefly, autopilot seems like it's going to follow the bus for a second, then suddenly rushes forward. Luckily, the people managing the building ahead placed some cones after we nearly rammed them last time. The car notices those cones as it does this pedestrian right in front of us, and screaming at us to take over, it safely comes to a full stop. Truly intelligent all the way through this illegal maneuver. What a ride, ladies and gentlemen, and what a better way to end it than parking in as cozy a spot as these innocent train tracks. This truly is the final destination. But before you go, thank you so much for your support in 2024, and let's just hope that next year we'll finally get full self-driving in Europe and I can make 10 times better videos for you because of that amazing software. Make a guess in the comments, when exactly do you think FSD will come to Europe and which countries will get it first? I hope that Czech Republic isn't left behind, but if it is, it's no problem for me to travel around a bit. Be sure to check out our other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.